Hey everybody, this is Bryce Machine Bates of Team Evil Geniuses, and this is a replay review. Today's replay is going to be a ZvT against Infinity 7 Pyre. This was actually a practice game I went over, so let's go ahead and jump into the game. Alright, I'm actually the pink Zerg spawning at the top right, and he is the yellow Terran spawning at the bottom left. This actually is, I'd have to say, a relatively new map. This is just IPL Sandshore and Mist. It really plays out from to actually be a bit of a Terran-favored map. There's not really too much of a distance between the natural and the third. Everything leading up to it is ramps, very easy to wall. But it plays out for some very nice games. Oh, and another feature of the map actually is these two island bases at the bottom right and the top left. Not really blocked by any destructible rocks or anything, so Terran can actually just go ahead, build command centers early on and fly them over there, and they basically get a free base that they don't really need to defend with too many resources. So it's a pretty good map for it. Anyways, my ZvT, I always scout with this early 12 drone scout. The reason being, you can go ahead and basically catch a lot of early cheese, like whether it's double proxy racks, or even something, I guess like an econ cheese build, like a command center first. It allows you to react just a bit better to it. So, as we see here, I'm going ahead scouting in with this drone. I scout a pretty early scout from the Terran. It's not very common for them to scout that early. And then I open up with my standard 15 hatchery, 15 pool. A lot of Zerg players are doing this at the moment. And how I tend to transition is actually to the gasless expand. This is something you've probably seen ZvT do, where he basically just goes ahead and grabs both Vespene geysers in his main at 44 supply. Pretty, I wouldn't really say it's standard, but it plays kind of to my play style at the moment. So I go ahead, scout in, don't scout either refinery, scout the barracks, and I don't really think it's a early 2 racks because I didn't really scout the second depot early on. Although I do scout a bunker at my natural, I need to go ahead and pull drones and basically just try to defend this properly without overreacting. As you can see there, the SCD isn't really moving outside of that little mineral line. It's really unfortunate. Sometimes that happens. Then he just goes ahead and gets a salvage, so it's cost me a good deal of mining time, but once again, if I hadn't gone ahead and tried to defend that bunker properly, it could have potentially been a loss for me. So yeah, he's just opening 1 racks expand, pretty standard, just an econ build from Terran. I go ahead and start my queen down in my main. He starts a second bunker. I'm able to just go ahead and defend this early on with drones, pull the weak one, and able to fend off that without too much of a problem here. And instead of going ahead and overreacting, spending a ton of larvae on Zerglings, I make my just standard 4. That I'd make anyway to go ahead and scout, defend these early 1 racks bunker rushes, and just kind of go from there. So I've started the queen of my main's complete. The queen of my natural is a bit late just due to that lost mining time, and I'll end up eventually starting a 3rd and 4th queen also in my main and natural. So go ahead here. Getting a good deal of scouting in. I scouted his ramp, see 3 Marines. He's obviously just going 1 racks expand. I hide a Zergling down in his 3rd so that if he does sort of a Hellion-esque opening into Marauder all-in, I'm able to just scout that at the right moment. And you'll note my Overlord placement. I'm trying to place 1 Overlord to the top of his main, and I have 1 scouting behind his natural to go ahead and see when he goes ahead and secures these Vespene geysers, also to scout the mining at the natural so I know he's gone ahead and secured it. So here's my 3rd queen, here's my 4th queen. Purely just building drones at this point. Once again, I hit that 44 supply mark. I take both my extractors in my main. But with a 1 racks expand, I don't have to worry about any kind of early pressure until even after Hellions. Hellions aren't really a big issue, especially with these early 4 queens, because queens are really good at spreading creep, which allows you to defend a lot more efficiently, but they are good at walling off, kind of just blocking ramps, and they're very tanky actually. So, you know, they go ahead and defend the Hellions extremely easy. They shoot ground to air, so they're good at defending Banshees. They're just good units to have early on anyway, and eventually you're going to need them to go ahead and spawn larvae at 3rd and 4th hatcheries, so it's not really like you're kind of wasting resources on them early. So as we see here, I go ahead and I start my early speed. I've started a macro hatch, probably around 52 supply. A single evolution chamber probably will be followed by a second one here soon. So I can go ahead and start my armor upgrade. And I'm still actually just making drones at this point. So my lair has gone ahead and started. Take both the Vespene geysers at my natural simultaneously as soon as I start this lair. And I'm still just kind of focusing on spawning larvae and building drones at this point. Even if you were to move out with a squad of, you know, his 4 Marines are here, so with these Hellions, they can't really do much, and I'm able to go ahead and react to it far enough in advance that he would actually just be feeding me resources at this point. So first Evo chamber, second one here. I've gone ahead and started my armor upgrade. It will probably be followed by a melee from the second evolution chamber. And go ahead and spawn larvae at this third hatchery now. And still this 4th queen out here just trying to spread creep. Looks like she's going to get picked off. A little unfortunate. But the next thing I need to do, because I've gone ahead and started producing these Zerglings after about the 50 drone count mark, is go ahead, regain map control from these Hellions, I get a good surround there, and then go ahead and take my 3rd base. So yeah, killing off these Hellions is huge. Hellions are the only thing that Terran really has to utilize map control early on. So if you're able to kill those off, you're in good shape. And the only reason why I was able to kill those off is because I did a good job of spreading creep here early, and he kept being forced to go ahead and move on creep if he wanted to pick off these queens and do some sort of damage, so it ended up costing him actually. So 3rd base has gone ahead and started. Just standard bio tank from the Terran here. He started his 3rd orbital, which is pretty common. Double E-bay, so he's hitting his 1-1. And as my lair is completed, I've gone ahead, started my infestation pit, and started probably 2-2 as soon as these 2 upgrades complete. And I will end up transitioning to probably Ultralisk here once I scout his composition. Ultralisk do very good against tank compositions, and on this map especially, because it's such a big map, you can really utilize the mobility of Ultralisk over something like Broodlords. Broodlords really, they're kind of good on the smaller maps that have corridors and places where you're forcing Terran to engage. On a big map like this, a Terran can kind of just run around with their bio ball and really do a great job of evading the Broodlords, whereas Ultras can kind of catch up with them, especially with a good infestor count and good fungals. So this 3rd has gone ahead. It's up. It will be saturated here shortly. I'm sure now that it's complete, I've gone ahead and started transferring drones from both my main and natural to go ahead and saturate this. And I will be starting a 4th shortly, I'm sure. Started my 2nd armor upgrade, and I'm starting an extremely fast Hive. Now the fact that I was able to go ahead, scout these early Marines, I know it's not mech, and I've definitely scouted the siege tank, so I will not be putting down a spire right now. If this was a different map like Cloud Kingdom and I was opting to open Broodlords, I would be throwing down 2 spires at the moment, but because I'm not, it's for sure a sign that I'm going Ultralisks. So as we see here, now that I've gone ahead and secured this 3rd, I haven't really taken much econ damage. You'll notice here I have 69 harvesters, 71, 72. It's definitely a good harvester count here. And I've gone ahead and secured my 4th at the same time. I really just want to make sure I'm not going to end up taking damage from any sort of drops. You'll notice I've taken both a 4th and 5th here. It's very common on this map for a Terran player to go ahead and siege to this early fourth of the Zerg, it makes sense typically to go ahead and take the fourth that's closest to your third, but on this map, this one tends to be the easier one to defend. And either way, if he ends up sieging one of these bases or the other, I can just go ahead and transfer the drones to the opposite base, and I'm exactly where I was before, only I've just sacrificed the 300 resources that I spent on the hatchery itself. So it's a lot better position to be in than going ahead and actually just losing the base with all the mining time and such. So Hive's complete. I've gone ahead, started my adrenal gland, started my Ultralisk cavern. 2-2 is about to complete. I've got a good deal of infestors here, 6. I'd say you want to typically have about 7 to 9 total is kind of like a good number for infestors, so a bit low here. I'll probably catch up with that in a bit. And as my fourth is up, I really just want to secure the Vespian geysers here. You can kind of utilize most of the mineral mining that you could possibly need on 3 base, but Zerg is a very hungry race, so you definitely need to get those Vespian geysers at the fourth secured as quickly as possible, especially to go ahead and kick in with your Hive tech. Hive tech tends to be extremely expensive upgrades, whether it's adrenal or your 3-3 Ultralisk armor, you know, and then also the Ultralisks themselves, along with the infestors. So as we see here, he's gone ahead and secured this third. Done a very good job of walling. I'm not really going to be able to counter, especially with this what do you call it? The sensor tower here. And he's gone ahead now and just decided to go kill this fourth off. So as I said before, I've planned for this. I'm just going to go end up moving my drones over the fifth probably. Actually, no, I'm just going to go ahead and run this over with my Ultralisks. Get some good fungals. Mainly, you want to aim for the biomass with the fungals. Don't really waste the energy on the siege tanks. He did a very good job of targeting down my infestors with the siege tanks. So I'm going to need to go ahead and build some more infestors to add to my arsenal here, so I have the proper amount. Ultralisks are very strong with fungal because it forces the Marines and Marauders to go ahead and engage, whereas if I didn't have fungal, he would be allowed to just go ahead, stim, kite, and he could just pick off infinite amounts of Ultralisks. So I've gone ahead here. I have this fifth already secured. Not really saturated because my drone count doesn't really let me until this main runs out. And Ultralisks aren't nearly as gas heavy as Broodlords, so I don't actually need too much of a gas surplus at this point anyway. Now I have this Burrowed Ling at the fourth. I've seen movement over here, and as soon as this command center moves over here, I will know that yes, he is trying to go ahead and secure fourth. It's about that time anyway, so I need to go ahead and try to stop this to the best of my ability. I position my troops to do so. Also positioning spines at all of my bases, leaving supply to go ahead and defend. And as he goes in here, I scout these units, able to pick off some Marines, some Marauders, and just basically get some free kills there for nothing. Now simultaneously, he's gone ahead and chose to go ahead and finally just finish off the fourth this time. As I said before, I go ahead and just take these units, run them over to my fifth, and I'm in great position. Now notice here, actually, one nice thing, most Zergs would have just attack moved into this, but I took the time to go ahead and split my forces here. If I just attack move into this, he has all these Marines, all these Thors here with medevacs, and I try to go ahead and engage with, you know, all of these Ultralisks up on a ramp. I would have lost, it would have been an extremely inefficient trade for me. But because I took the time to go ahead, split my units up, engage from multiple angles, I could get good fungals off, did a good amount of damage here. And I got an extremely efficient trade, and it ends up being his only force because I was able to go ahead and kill off that fourth at that time. Lost some infestors without getting too good of fungals off, but I end up winning the engagement. To go ahead and retake this fourth here, still able to block this command center just with these 2 Zerglings. Still saturated over here. 82 drone count, so I'm in a pretty good position here with 3-3 just about to finish up. Now he kind of is putting all of his eggs in one basket here. If he's unable to hold this one more time, I don't really think he'll be able to stay in the game at this point. Now this would actually be a good time for me to go ahead and try to hit a counter, maybe to the natural, try to spread him thin, because I know that he has to get this 4th up. He's going to end up putting all of his units over here trying to defend it. So it would have been a good idea to go ahead and counter, but I think I felt like I was in a pretty dominant position at this point. I could go ahead and just try to end the game here. Go ahead and engage. Good fungal there. Good fungal there. Split my force once I realized he's moved up here. Try to hit a lot of fungals. These medevacs are extremely expensive, so if I'm able to kill these off, it'll put me in a very good position here. Unable to do so, actually. The Marauders take out the Ultralisk pretty easily. And I'm able to go ahead, kill off that planetary fortress once again, and I'm just in a great position from here. Simultaneously securing my 5th, so you go ahead and saturate that. And even though I wasn't able to kill off the medevacs, and I did lose all of my Ultralisk force, I'm actually able to reinforce this, whereas he's not. He doesn't really have the resources. He's mined out of his main, mined out of his natural, and just about mining out of his 3rd. I guess I also did a Zergling drop here. I was able to kill off an armory, refinery, and all the SCVs inside the main. And as I said before, I'm able to just go ahead and reinforce from here. Just 2 infestors. I definitely need to add some to my arsenal, but the next time he tries to go ahead and take this 4th, he will definitely be unable to. I'm also securing both the island bases, it seems. I have more research drop because, as I said before, this is a good map for Terran because they can go ahead and take these islands. So I wanted to make sure I could go ahead and drop them if he had taken them, but because he hadn't, I was able to just go ahead and utilize them myself. So here I go ahead and get a great surround. As I said before, with melee units, surface area is kind of everything. I'm able to go ahead, hit some very good fungals on the biomass, eat up the rest of his tanks, and from here he's just unable to reinforce. GG. Alright guys, well thank you very much. Once again, this is Bryce Machine Bates of Team Evil Geniuses. Go ahead and check us out on evilgeniuses.net. This has been a replay review. You can go ahead and check this one out and many others just like it of me and my teammates. And it's been fun. Thank you very much.